Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, woman refuses to apologize for expletives in police station, sent to cell to cool down. A woman charged with disorderly conduct and indecent language after she stormed into a police station and inquired about the two arrested men was sent to a cell to cool down after she refused to apologize to officers when she appeared in court on Tuesday. Appearing in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court before Senior Judge Sanche Burrell, 20-year-old Khalifa Christie appeared soft-spoken and demure until lawmen revealed that she had stormed into a police station behaving badly as she inquired about the two men who had been arrested previously. Not only had Christie been acting boisterously, she also shouted repeatedly, "Disa Efri." Christie pleaded guilty to both charges. Shocked at the revelation, Judge Burrell told the court, "I cannot let this woman pay a fine of $1,000. She further expressed a concern that Christie had been charged under a more lenient law than the Constabulary Force Act. Under this act, any person who uses threatening, abusive, or calumnious language against the police in the execution of their duty is liable to a fine not exceeding $1 million or up to 6 months in prison. When given the opportunity to apologize to the officers in court, Christie declined. This swiftly landed her in a cell for a few hours, with Judge Burrell encouraging her to think about what she wanted to say. Christie had journeyed to the station to inquire about Adrian Martin and Gawain Wheeler, who were picked up by officers for breaching a curfew order. Wheeler, who had additional charges of resisting arrest and assaulting a constable, did not appear in court. However, Martin pleaded guilty and was fined. Man admits to pawning employer's jackhammer to complete a job. A young man admitted to theft in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday, but told the senior parish judge, Sanche Burrell, that he only pawned his employer's jackhammer to finance the very job he was hired to complete. Reports are that the female complainant hired Randy Redmond for a project and provided a jackhammer for his use while on the job. The woman left Redmond on site, and when she returned, Redmond was gone and the equipment was missing. When contacted, he told the complainant he did not have the jackhammer. She later discovered it had been sold at a pawn shop where it was retrieved and confiscated by the police. In open court, Redmond, who was charged with a simple larceny, admitted to theft but went on to tell the judge that he never intended to deprive the woman of her jackhammer permanently. The man indicated that he had run out of money to complete the job and pawned the jackhammer to get enough money to do so. "I did want to get it back before she realized," Redmond said. He went on to admit that when she asked for the item, he had lied about it, stating, "I couldn't tell her the truth back again because I already tell her a lie." Redmond's confession and admission to guilt were so earnest that Judge Burrell said, "I don't know if you are very honest or am just gullible." The complainant said the loss of the jackhammer had set her back about $180,000 as it was still in police custody and the construction work was still incomplete. The accused and the complainant agreed to seek mediation to try and resolve the issue. Police issue high alert for missing teen mother and 1-year-old son. The police have issued a high alert for 1-year-old Jador Hanson and his mother, 17-year-old Rihanna Hanson, who has been missing since Monday, March 17. Jador Hanson is of light complexion, stout build, and about 30 centimeters or 1 foot tall, while Rihanna Hanson is of dark complexion, slim build, and about 160 centimeters or 5 feet 3 inches tall. Reports from the Gordon Town Police are that Rihanna and Jador were last seen at their home at about 7:30 a.m. on Monday. Jador was last seen wearing a long-sleeved t-shirt and blue pants, while Rihanna was wearing a black dress and white slippers. They have not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Jador Hanson and Rihanna Hanson is being asked to contact the Gordon Town Police Station at 876-702-1870, the police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. St. Anne woman charged with stabbing partner to death. A St. Anne woman charged with the stabbing death of her partner in February was offered a $250,000 bail when she appeared in the Brownstown Parish Court last month. She will return to court to answer to the charge on April 17, 2025. Reports are that on February 16, 2025, at about 6:50 p.m., 21-year-old Vanessa Gibson and the now deceased Sween Reeves were involved in an altercation when Gibson used a knife and an ice pick to inflict wounds to the hands, upper body and head of Reeves. He was later transported to the Alexandra Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The couple also shares a child. Speaking with the news, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, who is in charge of police in the parish, noted that since the start of the year, 3 of the 9 murders committed in the parish have been due to domestic disputes. Rifleman killed in confrontation with the police. A man known as Rifleman was shot and killed Thursday morning during a confrontation with security forces in the community of Lilliput, St. James. Reports so far are that the police were carrying out an operation at 6 a.m. in the community when the confrontation happened. According to a police source, Rifleman was a known violence producer who had been on the police's radar for some time. A pistol was taken from him following the incident, the source said. His death comes hours after 2 men suspected of shooting 2 cops on Tuesday during a robbery attempt at a supermarket were shot and killed by members of the security forces on Wednesday. One of the suspects was allegedly shot and killed during a shootout in Go Peace Lane in Salt Spring just after 4 p.m. A firearm was seized during that incident. Less than an hour later, a second man, believed to be among the robbers, was fatally shot when he challenged the cops who were on an operation on Albion Lane. Another illegal firearm was seized during that incident. JTA finds Mark Golding's teacher retention proposals attractive. The Jamaica Teachers Association has observed that the strategies outlined by opposition leader Mark Golding for home ownership for public sector workers is a step in the right direction to help retaining teachers. During his contribution to the 2025-2026 budget debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, Mr. Golding outlined a slew of benefits he proposes to put in place for prospective homeowners and the public sector workers contributing to the National Housing Trust. He said that teachers, nurses, police officers, and other public servants and any individual contributing to the NHT will be able to own their homes. In response, Dr. Marcus Smith, president of the JTA, told the news that there is need for solutions to improve the quality of life for his members. He added that he is looking forward to details from the opposition leader on how the proposed housing solutions will be funded.
And so we welcome the idea, and we look forward to hearing, of course, what other ideas the government and the opposition have as it relates to improving the quality of life. Because many Jamaicans want to stay. We love our country, and we want to continue to work within the confines of this beautiful island state, but it cannot be at a penalty. And from too many of us, we have to trade a decent quality of life in order to stay in Jamaica. And I think that a lot more can be done in terms of restructuring how it is that we spend public resources to ensure that we, in a strategic way, address many of the challenges we face within the sector. We are, of course, concerned because it would not be the first time that we have heard politicians make pronouncements, but when faced with the macroeconomic realities, the plans are significantly scaled on. So we are mindful, and this goes for both the JLP and the PMP. When they're in the opposition, the ideas always seem a lot more lofty than when they get into power. And that's a function of when they come to the table and realize the real constraints that they face. But it is good to see that he's thinking in a big way, and he's trying to tackle tackle many of the big issues that we face. As I mentioned, housing remains one of the critical push factors that many teachers cite as forcing them to migrate in order to be able to find a pathway towards home ownership.
Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.